Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Please smash the subscribe button and like button if you are feeling charitable. And please follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And it's just great to be doing multiple videos today because for me, this is just the year-long build-up to Zack Snyder's Justice League and David Ayer's Suicide Squad. So it should be big. We should be coming at you with loads of videos and getting that hype train going. Don't you agree? Of course you do. So, yet another Screen Rant article. I'm just going to revert to Screen Rant all the time unless someone else is saying interesting rarely, which I doubt. So, Man of Steel's Kryptonians almost spoke their own language, not English. I always thought about this, even when I was a kid on the original Superman the movie. You know, why are they speaking English? I like what they do on Doctor Who, where when you go in the TARDIS messes with your brain and translates languages. And I kind of say that about like these films that are on another planet but still speak English. It's odd, right? And I just think, well, this is speaking English because that's the language we understand, but really they're speaking another language. Anyway, during a commentary for Man of Steel, director Zack Snyder revealed that Kryptonians were initially going to speak a wholly original dialect. That would have been interesting, and I would have been quite cool with that. I mean, I did watch Passion of the Christ, which wasn't in English at all. Zack Snyder has revealed that Kryptonians were originally not going to speak English, but have their own language in Man of Steel. The Superman reboot was Snyder's first installment at the helm of the dceu. Released in 2013, the film starred Henry Cavill in a fresh, somewhat darker take on the iconic superhero. Man of Steel also starred Amy Adams as Lois Lane, Russell Crowe as Jor-El, and Michael Shannon as General Zod. Despite middling reviews, the film became the highest-grossing solo Superman film ever, as well as ranking as one of the most profitable reboots of all time. It also garnered an increasingly passionate following in the years since. Following his initial 5-film DCEU plan, Snyder went on to direct 2016's follow-up Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice to equally moderate success. A personal tragedy, however, led to Snyder having to step away from the third installment. 2017's Justice League, in his stead, Joss Whedon was brought on to overhaul the script and oversee extensive reshoots. The results proved were less than well received by fans, prompting the emergence of the Snyder Cut campaign. As well as producing a wealth of charitable donations, those efforts recently bore fruit when it was announced that Snyder's version of Justice League will debut on HBO Max in 2021. The news emerged during a live stream event of Man of Steel, hosted by Snyder himself, during which the kind of details that made the film such a cult favourite were highlighted. Streaming via Snyder's personal account on Vero, the director offered a running commentary of the film, complete with glimpses at his array of storyboards. He delved into the opening scenes taking place on the alien Krypton, in the wake of Kal-El's birth and General Zod's attempt at a coup, as well as addressing the various animals native to the planet and potential history of the Codex. He addressed the fact that everybody on the alien planet spoke English. There was a time when we really, I'll be honest, early in the development of the movie, where we talked about developing the language and having them speak only Kryptonian on Krypton, Snyder said, and do the whole thing with subtitles and have everybody have to learn Kryptonian. I would have, honestly, right, I know a lot of you would have hated that. I would have absolutely loved that and gobbled that up. Ultimately, however, they decided to forego that element of the idea. In conversation, I think we all felt like it could create a barrier to the viewer and not be as immersive right out of the box. The concept wasn't entirely scrapped, though, as they still created a super complex Kryptonian alphabet that could be read and written by those who took time to learn it. There actually is a Kryptonian alphabet. The comic books created it years ago. I don't know if they went with that. The alphabet itself was developed by Dr. Christine Schreier, seen all throughout the opening scenes of Man of Steel. Snyder also revealed the portions of it translate to a famous Joseph Campbell quote. Wow, because I love Joseph Campbell literature, I really do. And of course, George Lucas and Zack tell their stories from his kind of literature, which is amazing. And that's why I love Zack and I love George. One that holds personal significance to him and he believes mirrors Clark's heroic journey. The residents of Krypton using their own language has roots in the original comics, known both as Kryptonian and Kryptonese, depending on the run. As such, the inclusion of it would no doubt have delighted fans, not to mention it would have continued a trend of memorizing fictional language, as exhibited by the widespread familiarity with Star Trek's Klingon, and more recently Game of Thrones, Dothraki, and the High of Valkyrian. Equally, the potential continuation of General Zod and his forces using it on Earth would have lent itself to the feeling of an invasion film. That would have been great. I'm disappointed that didn't happen, actually, but I know a lot of critics would have hated it. That Snyder wanted to infuse Man of Steel. The decision to scrap it, however, does make sense. Still, in any case, it serves as another testament to the depth of thinking and world building Snyder tried to weave into his version of the DCEU. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Look, leaving the language to one side, which I think would have been a great idea. I understand why Zack didn't do it. I mean, people hated on him enough for doing something different and unique and brilliant, right? The language would have been a step too far to these potato bots, for crying out loud. But I do want to see the Kryptonian culture expanded in the DCEU. You know what I mean? I'd really like to know more about the Kryptonians. So if we could get a Krypton movie, that would be really good. HBO Max have a lot of potential to do on their side of the DCEU, and I'm excited when they announce all these projects because they are going to do it. But what do you think? Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back a little bit later on with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.